There is a very interesting story on President Putin's personal involvement in the hybrid attack regarding South Stream on Bulgaria. He initiated the adage that Bulgaria is guilty for halting the South Stream, and Bulgarian politicians at various levels have never seriously contested the story and kept on repeating that the country has missed a great chance by stopping the South Stream. President Putin rarely engaged in hybrid warfare personally, but this time it is personal involvement. The stakes were high at the end of South Stream, and he was unwilling to admit that he bears the prime responsibility for the annexation of Crimea, which was followed by sanctions. The South Stream was dedicated 100% for Russian gas flows, and there was no single act or document that would attest Sofia's role in halting the project. Putin's fake story aimed to hide the real culprits behind and his input for the demise of the pet project after having spent more than $20 billion for onshore works on Russian soil without result or purpose. What blocked the South Stream was the inability of the Gazprom guys to control the costs of the project and to raise investment funds on the capital market. Now, a few words about the costs. Gazprom is notorious for lavish spending and project cost overruns. The South Stream gas pipeline made no exception. 2 months before the famous Ankara project termination statement by President Putin, Gazprom's project cost estimate rose by 7.5 billion euros, above the original estimate of 16 billion. The price tag on the maritime part alone increased from $10 to $14 billion. Project cost control, particularly, has never been Gazprom's forte. Then came the US and EU sanctions for the annexation of Crimea, a prima facie for personal responsibility of Mr. Putin. Gazprom had to cancel 2 tenders for capital funding at a much lower level, 200 and 300 million respectively, in October of 2014 due to lack of interest from EU banks. This explosive mix of high and uncontrollable costs plus difficulties to raise the necessary funding meant only one thing: the Italian company partnering Gazprom in the project, Eni, had to provide additional funds well above the initially conceived and quicker. Deliveries through Ukraine were at the same time several times cheaper, which undermined the key economic rationale that Eni's management needed to substantiate the need for South Stream funding before its shareholders. All these facts led to a critical meeting between the CEO of Gazprom, Alexei Miller, and the CEO of Eni, Claudia Descalzi, on November the 24th in Sochi, just a week before President Putin's announcement for the cancellation of the project in Ankara. This meeting produced the obituary to South Stream project, as the Italian side refused to increase its funding share from 600 million to 1 billion and provide the necessary guarantees in mandatory long-term gas purchase agreement. For all practical purposes, the project, already in a coma status, was declared clinically dead at that Sochi meeting. Later on, the same evening of November 24th, Alexei Miller meets with President Putin, where, in all likelihood, the decision to pass on the blame to Bulgaria and its government was taken. The Putin fake story is so widely spread that even Bulgarian top politicians are readily sharing it. Why Bulgaria has been singled out as a culprit? Because the country is the weak link in EU and NATO's collective systems, and Bulgarian politicians would not dare openly to challenge and call President Putin a liar. This is the whole story of a narrative that is so pervasive that few Bulgarians ever know that Bulgaria has never played a decisive role. Bulgaria has never had any means to stop the South Stream, but Bulgarian government and Bulgarian politicians are ready to take the blame for what Mr. Putin did. Thank you.